To replace the brake pads, all you do is loosen these two. And then when you pull it back, you just wiggle it a little bit, and then you want to twist it. See how I kind of twist it back and forth, and what that does is it pushes the brake pads in, and then you can squeeze it through by the rim. Just be careful not to scratch your rim. And then here's the old brake pads. Now what you want to do is get a screwdriver and pry it open. That way when you get the new brake pads in, you don't have to pry it on the new ones. So you always do it with the old ones. So you just put a screwdriver in here, pry it open. So you just pull it out. There's a spring right here that holds them in. And you just wiggle it, and it presses that spring in, and you just pull them out. And you'll see there's notches in here. So when you stick it back in and you slide them in, there's notches here, here, and up here. So I just want to show you, when you look at brake pads, and it doesn't matter what kind, see the grooves in here? These grooves are the wear indicators. If you're looking at them and you can't see these grooves, that means you got to replace them. So for example, here's the old ones, here's the new ones. You can see the old ones were ready to be replaced. Now I just want to show you this spring that I was talking about. It can actually come out, so just be careful. See, it comes out fairly easy. And it has these little arms right here that rest right on top of the caliper. And then when you stick the pads in, it'll compress it and hold them in place. Also, you'll see, let me take it out again. You'll see an arrow if you do drop it like that. Right there, you'll see an arrow on it. Well, you gotta trust me, there's an arrow there. Just like this arrow here is to point up. Obviously, you're not going to mess that up, but just as a reminder if it falls out. So I'm going to clean these up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is put the old brake pads back in it. I took them out just to kind of show you guys. But I'm going to put them back in so I can push these pistons out. And then I'll be able to clean the pistons a little better. The reason I'm putting the old ones back in, once again, is so I don't damage the new ones. So now what I'm doing, I'm just pumping on the brakes. In theory, I want to see all the pistons come out. Okay, so what I was doing is I put the screwdriver in here and I was pumping the brakes. And then now you can see all 4 pistons are actually sticking out. And then you can turn around and get the back side of it as well. that point, just take the other one out. Now you can really get in there, clean up these pistons. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but before you could see a line where there was dirt. Now it looks pretty good. And this contact cleaner evaporates like extremely fast. Okay, so now we want to put the pads back in. Remember, look for that arrow. So we want to put the pads back in because we need to separate these pistons. Okay. So now that I have the old ones in, once again, just take a screwdriver in there and you kind of twist it. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you're doing this and you can't open them anymore, check your brake reservoir. If you put too much fluid in it in the past because it was getting low because your pads were getting thin, and you start backing this out, there's not going to be any place for the brake fluid to go, and you're not going to be able to compress it. It looks like it's pretty good. Okay, got them in there. Now put the new ones in. So once again, you can pry them with your hands. See, all you do is just kind of push down and that way. So here we are. Pistons are all pushed in evenly. So then you take your new ones. So remember, this is really loose until the pads are in. Put my finger down there, just kind of pushing it down. Stick the bottom in first. And find your other one. And try not to touch these with your greasy hands. The pads. Try not to touch your pads. And then, just to show you, this notch here goes right here. And you'll be able to, if you keep this pushed down, it'll go in there no problem. Once again, just kind of wiggle it in there. Make sure the bottoms are in the groove. And you want to make sure the top is in the groove. There you go. And usually what I do, have a clean screwdriver. You don't want to press it. You don't want to twist. And what you're doing is you're just making it flat. And there's your brakes. Flat against the pistons. Double check to make sure this is snug, because you can put them in there. If this spring is up higher, you can still put the pads in, but this will be loose. Make sure this is snug. That's very important. And then now what you do with the big gap here, you just put the brakes back on. And then go ahead and tighten these down, and you're gonna have to do the other side. So what you want to do is make sure when you do one caliper, make sure the other caliper is still installed, because if you don't, you're gonna be pumping the brakes, and those brake pads are gonna be compressed all the way, and you're gonna damage your new pads trying to get them apart. So that's done on this side. Now I'm gonna go to the other side. But before I do that, once again, you want to pump the brakes. So you'll be able to see the brake pad. See how it goes all the way? The brake lever? Well, what it's doing is it's pushing those pistons out. You want to pump your brakes before you go out on the road for a test ride. And then now, the pistons are pushing out the brake pads, and it's hitting the caliper. Make sure you do this before you go on a test ride, because the first time you hit your brakes, you're not going to have it. Okay, here's the other side. I'm just going to go ahead and go through this without showing it step by step, just because did it on the other side. You can see fork seals leaking, so I'm going to have another video how to remove the forks and get the fork seal replaced. What I like to do is remove this ABS cable if you have it. That way it doesn't pull on it and stress it. Once again, you twist, 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 and it comes out. You're gonna leave it in there a little bit, pump the brakes. Remember, I want to do this so the pistons come out, and that way I can clean the pistons. But you have the screwdriver in there so the pistons don't come out too far. It'll give me more room to clean them. Take this out. This is that tab I was talking about. Oops, sorry. This right here. So when the pads are in, it actually goes in like that. Once again, look for the arrow. Kind of got to twist it. Let's see if I can show you. Kind of got to twist it a little bit. Use your thumb. Flush up against there. Find your new pads. Try not to touch the pads themselves. There we go. Remember, pump the brakes. Took about 8 pumps to get it back to normal. Don't forget to put the ABS wire back along here. Clean up your fingerprints and be good to go.